Take is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subject matter. You've been warned. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Fresh Take NBA preview. We're here with the 2019, the Orlando Magic, Devan.
Hey man, if you're not last, you're second last.
So they started with the draft and they got Aaron Gordon.
It's funny because I get that joke.
You do. Check out Key and Peele for that. But they added Aaron Gordon to this roster. Some think, including ourselves, thought he was drafted a little bit high.
Yeah, what was he? Like top 10, wasn't he?
He was a top 10, but he fell right into the top 5 with the Magic's pick. Do you see him, I don't want to say the word bust, because we haven't seen him play enough, but do you think they would have been better going after, for an example, a Dante Exum?
Yeah, he seems like a fairly one-dimensional player. Whether it be, he's got that defensive talent, absolutely, and he's very athletic. But at the same time, like in terms of his offensive skills, in terms of his shooting, his ability to get to the rim, like what are we really looking at here? Especially in the NBA.
You know who he kind of reminds me of as far as a prospect is a little bit like Derek Williams, where he comes and gets drafted and you're not really sure where he fits. Is he a power forward? Is he a small forward? Like you're not really sure where he fits in the depth chart.
I kind of thought he was going to be kind of like he's going to be like a Tayshaun Prince kind of player.
Yeah.
Really long, lean.
He's a little bit bigger than Tayshaun though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But that similar kind of defensive presence first, long, lean, going to be able to guard those guys because of the wingspan.
So they had 2 picks.
Yep.
They also drafted Elfrid Payton. Big hype for this kid out of Lafayette. Kind of came out of nowhere in the draft circles, and it looks like he's taking the point guard spot. He joins a backcourt that also has veteran point guard Luke Rindauer. Peyton Siva, things going to go as well in Detroit. Now he's out there. Backcourt also includes Victor Oladipo. They got Evan Fournier in a trade with the Nuggets for Aaron Aflalo. I actually like Evan Fournier's game a lot. Not as much for an Aaron Aflalo, who was arguably their best player last year.
Yeah, well, him and Vucevic.
Yeah. And then you continue with that front court there with Tobias Harris. Mo Harkless, really like him as a young player. Same with Tobias. And then we get to the front, and you talk about Vucevic, big guy at the center. And then power forward, Channing Frye, Andrew Nicholson, Canadian. Then we look kind of overall at the big landscape of how they added. Did they add too many veterans with Ben Gordon and Channing Frye?
Like, yeah, why? What are they going for here? Because they're not going to make the playoffs.
Money?
They're not going to... They were probably just so under the cap. They're like, we got to add some expensive players. Who we got? Well, Ben Gordon's left. Done! Give him 5.
I'm really confused about Ben Gordon because if you remember, Charlotte cut him late in the season last year. Kind of were dicks about the whole thing and cut him before he could go to a playoff team.
Absolutely, right after
so
the
you would
deadline.
think he'd be steaming about that and be like, right, next year I'm going to go to a contender. He's been stuck with the Hornets before they got to where they are now.
Absolutely.
So you think he'd go to a playoff contender?
Well, you think Ben Gordon would be a good fit for someone like Oklahoma City?
Yeah, which will
a
be
shooting guard position.
Yeah, which they need because that corner jumper is always open for the
But
Thunder.
no, I guess when you have no state tax and you live next to Disneyland, I guess, or Disney World, I guess.
I mean, Victor Oladipo is going to be out for the first little bit of the
Yep.
season, so that's going to be good adding Ben Gordon to fill in that shooting guard position. We know he can score in droves. And Channing Frye was kind of a glue piece in Phoenix last year. Great veteran leadership for this Orlando Magic club.
Him and I have a very contentious fantasy basketball relationship.
Yeah, I'm well aware.
But yeah, he's gonna be that. He's gonna be that mentor presence. I think adding him and Ben Gordon was a little odd because you kind of only need one veteran guy in the locker room. But hey, when they're gonna give you that much money.
Some of these basketball clubs are going to get to have an identity. Like Minnesota is going to be really high energy. With Golden State, you know they're going to knock down trays all day. What's their basketball identity?
That is honestly that is such a tough question. This is the most ragtag bunch of guys, except for Philadelphia.
Yeah. Like I almost wanted to put them lower. Like if we had to talk about teams I was more intrigued with, I'm kind of intrigued about Philly because I'm looking forward to seeing what Nerlens Noel does and MCW. On here with Aaron Gordon, I'm not really sure what he's going to do. Elfrid Payton, I kind of saw a little bit of a reach. I'm really looking for him to prove me wrong as the leading point guard. I think you have guys in the draft sometimes that just gain so much hype, And then everybody gets so excited to draft a guy like that. And I think he may have fallen to that.
Yeah, he came in really, really hot right before the draft. I mean, everyone kind of said LSU Lafayette. Is that the team?
I believe so. Yeah.
Louisiana Lafayette.
Yeah.
Like, who? What? Like, were there just so few point guards of that draft that he just was kind of like the third best point guard between like even like Tyler Ennis and Dante Exum?
Like if I was gonna draft with Orlando, my my ideal draft would have been get Exum, and then maybe I think Gordon could have still been there for them even.
Oh, I thought he would have dropped 15 at least.
Yeah.
But hey, maybe he just worked out really well. Shot the ball. He probably had a lucky day and just shot phenomenal.
So, what are the most exciting? I think the most exciting things about this team are watching guys like Mo Harkless, Andrew Nicholson, Victor Oladipo, and a lot of these rookies and the younger players continue to grow. Tobias Harris also, great fantasy guy, can get you a double-double.
Vucevic, man.
He was
totally my fantasy guy.
The front line isn't terrible with Vucevic.
No, I really don't think they are. It's just a matter of I have no idea what kind of basketball they're gonna play.
Yeah.
They're a young prospect with kind of like a rudderless ship. They're just floating along. They're gonna play whoever they play. They're gonna shoot the ball. They're gonna miss, and they're gonna get some rebounds. And they're gonna. I mean, honestly, couldn't tell you.
Could be another team that we see near the top of the lottery next year.
Absolutely.
But they're building some of the rookies here and some of the younger players. I'm really intrigued by. And there's a few, if you're playing fantasy, a few sleeper fantasy players.
Few gems,
yeah.
Absolutely.
So there's a few key things there. One player I really like is Luke Rindauer. I've always liked his game as an NBA point guard. So maybe he can help younger Elfrid Payton step up to the next level.
Seattle Supersonic.
Yeah. There you go. All right, so that is the Orlando Magic. Next up, we go down to Salt Lake, number 28, the Utah Jazz. This has been a Fresh Take Stick Boy production.